All right, let's talk a little bit about Origin, of course. The teams, they went into camp this week, the squads were named, and we are counting down to game one in a week's time.
Awesome.
Very exciting. What did you make of both team selections?
I think the New South Wales team's incredible.
Strong.
Really strong.
All the way to 17, 18. Like, it's a tested team, a lot of experience there. The combination in the halves is going to be interesting, I think, but has the potential to be, could just blow the game away, what they can bring to a game.
How do you think it will work, or what maybe is the benefit of having Mitchell and Nathan?
Well, I think Mitchell is a masterstroke because he brings Latrell and Angus Crichton into play with his long passing. Our left edge of this guy, Latrell and Angus, up against an experienced Robert Toia, who's only played 10 first-grade games, and also Cherry Evans together. So the job of Mitchell, on that, whether he plays left, is to get the ball early to those players, but also to bring his running game into play.
Well, Jerome used to do that a lot himself. There was games in 2021 where the combination on the left with, there was Tarek Sims, Jerome, Latrell and Brian. So Brian does all the work for Latrell. So Latrell doesn't have to get back and do a lot of that leg work coming out of trouble. But what Jerome did, which Mitchell Moses will do the same, is just go and ping it to him. Anytime there's a quick play of the ball, they'll just throw it to Latrell and he just takes advantage. You just got to give him the ball and just let him go and follow him. So.
You spoke then about Brian Tutto doing Latrell's, a lot of that hard work coming out of trouble. When Max King, his name came up, I was very surprised. But the more I think of it is they've got the yin and the yang. They've got the explosive power of Spencer Leniu, and then you got the hard work of King. And then also at the start, you got Payne Haas, devastating attack, and you got Mitch Barnett doing all the cleaning up. I think it's going to be a masterstroke.
And the other thing about this bloke is he scores tries.
Yeah, he does score.
Well, the thing I liked about Paul Vaughan early on, I used to pick Paul Vaughan all the time because he scores tries. While you're worrying about Latrell, all of a sudden if you can jump out and just, if your timing's right, you've got a front rower who's used to catching pressure passes and knows how to get over the line.
A big advantage for New South Wales is the bench. The jersey 14 position is so important, well, you know as a coach. Connor Watson, I think he's in the Craig wing. Kirk Gidley Moulders of 14 can play anywhere. And then you got Spencer, you got Max King and you got Hudson Young. Queensland, on the other hand, they have Tom Dearden at 14. I don't think Tom would have ever defended in the middle as a dummy half. And then you got three debutants. Two. You got
Trent
Liero, both Fermor.
Yeah.
But Lindsay Collins is there. He's played one game in 5 weeks.
He got caught out too on the weekend a couple of times.
Bailey Hayward got him with the in and away. So I think New South Wales' bench, I think there's a big advantage there. But the New South Wales team, on paper, looks very strong, but the best teams on paper don't always win, especially up there.
Yeah. We'll talk a little bit about some of those players who will be making their debut for Queensland, but still on New South Wales, what did you make of the couple of the players on media bans? So Spencer and Latrell Mitchell not speaking to the media throughout this whole camp. There's a lot of discussion. So there's two sort of views on this one. One view is the fact that they do get paid a fair bit of money. I think it's about, is it $30,000 per game that they play?
Which is underpaid considering how much it generates. Anyway, that's another story, yeah.
So then there's one train of thought that is, part of that role is also the build-up, getting people interested, speaking to the media and, bringing eyeballs to it. But then the other one is also, they've had their dramas, so maybe it is play it safe. New South Wales want to get the best from them. Where do you sort of stand on this one?
Well, I'm on the fence, I've got to say. I don't mind actually the amount of talk we do these days. I think having Latrell not talk at the moment, I think, has added intrigue to the game. And I think that's where a Wayne Bennett style of personality has really helped our game because he actually doesn't talk. And you look at the other side of it, there's so much over-talking that it's become the real rarity. I feel like in State of Origin especially though, there's going to be moments, and if there is a big moment, that we're going to want to talk to Latrell or whoever it is, and they most likely need to aim up. The thing is also is that the players signed a deal with the game. So it's between the game really and the Players Association that they sort this out. Like I can accept that players go on media bans for a certain period of time, but you just can't not talk to the media forever.
And so
I've got no problem at all. I think it's their own decision, both the players, for whatever reason. whether they don't have a relationship with certain media outlets or that they feel like they've been unfairly treated, I see it as their decision not to talk, and we should respect that. I know in contracts and all this, but it's these two players' decision.
But what about if every player just come out now and said, we all want to go on a media ban?
That won't happen.
Well, if you're setting a really, there's a precedence that players are coming out. There needs to be something a bit more formal, I think.
Because then there's also, if you look a little bit closer into it, and this might not be something that the public reads into a lot, but there's also a difference in, say, media who write stories for the news cycle that every 24 hours, but then there's also broadcast media. So that's actually speaking on game coverage as well. Foxtel Channel 9. So that's speaking in the lead up to games, walking off the field, and it is certainly a very different sort of topic of discussion. You're not getting into all the nitty-gritty details. You're often just talking about what's happened on the field. What about if they say that they don't want to do that as well?
I couldn't care less.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't care less. It's their decision. If they don't want to talk, then I think we should respect that.
All right, Robert Toia, what about this? This is a great story for him. 10 games into his NRL career and playing State of Origin. He's 20 years of age. How do you think he'll go in the Origin arena?
I think what he's shown, though, is that the 2 years he hasn't played hasn't held him back. I think what we've missed is a pretty good footy player over the 2 years while he's been recovering from injuries. I think from the game against the Broncos, he was the shining light for the Roosters, and I think he's only gotten better each time. I think putting him up against Latrell Mitchell is most likely not a great. It's not going to be good. I feel if we get a fair share of the ball, I feel like that's going to put a lot of pressure on the kid. But Latrell's going to have to also defend him as well. He's got pretty sharp footwork.
Big right
foot.
foot.
Big bloke.
That side of the field. That side of the field has been a real target for New South Wales. Cherry Evans' defensive movements can be very inconsistent. He can get really tight to his back rower. He can push up in front of his back row. He can hang out. So Cherry Evans and Robert Toia and his back row, which will be Nene, I think they have to be on the same page. They have to be working together because opposite them, they got Angus Crichton and Latrell Mitchell, who we saw in Melbourne last year in Game 2, they couldn't tackle either of them.
Yeah.
They just destroyed them. So I don't think it's more Robert Toia. I think it's more Daly Cherry Evans getting his movements and his communication, but how he defends.
Mate, if Latrell gets good early ball, which he will, as you're talking about Mitchell's pass earlier, he's going to have to one-on-one him at some stage, and that's
if he gets
a tough
one-on-one,
tackle.
it is Dushka, bang, which we saw, and if he comes hard, he goes left foot, Latrell, bang into Cherry Evans. Remember that scrimmage at training one day, and Latrell got the ball one-on-one and went left foot, and Nathan came to get him. He went bang. Yeah. Nathan did a somersault. They went, "Would you have got him?"
It's a big ask.
No. Well, yeah, you saw Latrell got Payne Haas 2 weeks ago. Yeah.